Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Lords of the Night. With me, as always, is the Lord of Pain, Ranting Monkey.
Hello.
And the Lord of Pennies, Satsu 2 cents.
What up, Dale?
And I'm your host, Scribe, the Lord of Punishment. Hello, chat. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Tuesday. Super Tuesday of a kind, sort of. And I was right! It happened on a Tuesday. That is the largest victory I can claim, because everything else is a loss. But we'll talk about that shortly. In the meantime, Satsu, how are you doing?
Pretty good. Nothing crazy to report. Nothing of note actually happened today. Just had a not bad day.
That is not bad.
Indeed.
And hello to all of the coming in from Tucker Tuesday. Hello, everyone. And Monkey, how are you?
I'm all right. Nothing to complain about. How you doing, man?
I'm all right. It was another sort of, there were super duper technical problems at work, or with work today, not at work, but I suppose also. Anyway, my workstation could not connect to the network drives of my company. And so I couldn't actually do any of the work I needed to get done. So I had to play this really awkward game of file relay with a coworker of mine in another country in order to try to get my stuff done on time in the morning. And so what usually would have taken me about maybe an hour took about 3. And that was awkward. And it wasn't fixed until late into the afternoon because of reasons. And anyway, it all came out all right in the end. It was just a very hectic day for no particularly good reason. So aside from that, everything's fine. Although we have had some tumultuous events in the world. We'll get to that in a minute. Thank you. This is Kyle. Hello, chat people in Lawton. Whiskey Theorizes says, it's my birthday. I accept my fate. Okay. You're old. Monkey Dick, Jim Jones, movies, video games. Hit that like button if you haven't already. And I can see that many of you haven't. And please share our stuff. Because if you share our stuff, especially this, you'll hear us sing happy birthday to Whiskey Theorizes.
Whiskey, it's your birthday. And around here we do this. This one's for you. And a 1 and a 2. Happy birthday to you.
I don't like whiskey.
Happy birthday to you.
The drink, not the person.
Happy birthday, dear Whiskey Theorizes.
I assume they're all right.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, sir. I hope you had a good one.
All right. Well, guys, today was the day. Let us discuss the biggest story in the world right now. Dr. Pepper confirms soda shortage amid COVID-19 pandemic. Dear Christ in heaven! Certain sodas have become harder to find during the coronavirus pandemic due to a number of factors, mostly me. The coronavirus pandemic has led to a shortage of many items, and Dr. Pepper feels your pain. After the initial run on paper towels, toilet paper, and hand sanitizer, we learned that soft drinks were becoming a rare commodity during the pandemic, attributed to both a disruption in the supply chain that brings artificial sweetener to the factory and an aluminum shortage, as irate Alex had to go through and correct me all the time. Even though there isn't the second I in this spelling here, but whatever. Many Americans were, and apparently still are, having a hard time finding their favorite beverage. Dr. Pepper wants you to know that they're working on it. In a tweet Monday, the brand said they're working with distribution partners to keep their soda on the shelf while keeping their employees safe. Dr. Pepper said the limitations are affecting all flavors of the beverage, including the new Dr. Pepper and cream soda drink, which I still haven't had. Thank you, Ex-Bubba Hotep. Dear God, what else will 2020 take from us? I know, right? Jeez, if my goldfish go missing, I'm just done. I'm just done. I'm out. It's going to be out. So the tweet from Dr. Pepper. We know it's harder to find Dr. Pepper these days. We're working on it. Hang tight. Note, this applies to all flavors of Dr. Pepper, blah, 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 blah. Yeah. Last month, retailers told CBS 8 in San Diego certain sodas had disappeared altogether, including Tab, Diet Right, and Cherry Coke Zero. Oh my God. Thank you, Cryptic. A soldier survived mustard gas in battle and then pepper spray by the police. He's now a seasoned veteran.
Ah,
Thank you, Cryptic. Let's see. All of that played into the shortage of aluminum can. Oh, sorry, I skipped a paragraph. How about a Fresca? No, thank you. They were vanishing too, along with vanilla Coke and caffeine-free Diet Coke, according to messages to Coca-Cola's Twitter page. At the time, Coca-Cola said they were seeing a shortage in products that were consumed in the home. I guess there are products that aren't consumed in the home, I suppose. That led the company to institute contingency plans to get their beverages to stores. All of that played into the shortage of aluminum cans, along with the increased popularity of hard seltzers. I saw
hand seltzer?
Well, here's the thing. So my brain read it first as hand sanitizer because they're talking about COVID, but hard seltzer. And so my brain boggled it up. So the actual words are hard seltzers, and soft drink and sparkling water companies moving away from single-use plastics for their containers, according to the Ball Corporation. I wonder what they make. A Ball spokesperson told 11 Alive in July that the company was adding manufacturing lines and building 2 new plants, which are expected to be in operation by the end of the year. Thank you, Jordan Edwardson, for the Dogcat Fox. How's it going? Goes okay. Goes pretty good, except for the Dr. Pepper shortage. But yeah, guys, I hate to be the bearer of bad news. But yeah, Dr. Pepper, it's getting hard to find. I have a couple of cans in my fridge that I'm now kind of sitting on, not literally, but you know what I mean? Because that might be the last that I ever see if this doesn't get resolved soon.
He's going to start trading currency in Dr. Pepper caps.
Oh, man. Yeah, it's going to be like Fallout over here. Dude, it's like, do you have a Dr. Pepper? It's like, sir, I'd like to ask for your daughter's hand in marriage. Your dowry will require a 6-pack of Dr. Pepper. Yes, sir. Thank you, John Miller. Game over, Ghost Hippo. Yes, game over. So, Monkey Satsu, important question. How are you dealing with the Dr. Pepper shortage?
I'm consoling myself in the fact that I don't usually drink that stuff, and I have plenty of Diet Pepsi.
Well, I have in a fit of rage, I may have or may not have sacrificed a few people in order to get a deal from the devil to get some more Dr. Pepper.
I feel you, brother. I feel you. Thank you, Cryptic. What kind of doctor is Dr. Pepper? He's a physician. Oh, I like that. That's a good one. I like that one. Did you come up with that all yourself, or is that something from the olden days? Thank you, Chicago Mike. How about a Mr. Pibb instead?
Ew.
Mr. Pibb is like the creepy uncle that comes to Thanksgiving at the Dr. Pepper house. No.
Go to Walmart, get the Dr. Thunder. Is that what they call it?
Anyway, now that tragic news is out of the way.
Super RR99 asks or says, Monkey can sing happy birthday to me. Is it your birthday?
Monkey can do that thing. Does he have a reason to? And why? I guess I'll just sit this one out since I'm not even needed. So,
well, Super RR99, I'm you got a super chat.
You saw it before I did. Thank you, Ross Finkter. Thank you. Okay, my brain just skipped a beat because of that name. Dr. Thunder is better. No, it is not. You are wrong. I appreciate your generosity, but you are wrong. Just objectively wrong.
Have you had Dr. Thunder?
Yeah, I've had Dr. Thunder. I've had Dr. Thunder. I've had Mr. Pibb. I had whatever that other thing is that's out there that tries to make itself look like it. Yeah, no, they just don't work. And thank you, Andrew Joyner, for the lemon and lime parade. Thank you so much.
All right.
I know it's a pear. People say it's a pear. I think it's a lime. If it's next to a lemon, it's a lime. That's all.
That's a pear. Super. It's your birthday. And around here we do this. This one's for you. And a 1. And a 2. Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday to you.
I don't know who I am or where I am.
Happy birthday, dear Super RR99.
Super.
Who are you people?
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Super. I hope you had a great one. I really do.
And we got like planes and rockets and fire from Bluntly Blondie.
Oh my.
Biggest neum I've seen so far. But with that heralding what we have here, we have, if you can believe it, an analysis from our favorite friend at CNN, Chris Cillizza.
I don't believe it.
Whose dedicated prognostication of who would become the vice presidential pick off and on for the last 7 months was always mostly Kamala Harris, who is now the chosen vice presidential candidate for Joe Biden. Thank you, Chris R., for meow. And thank you, Cryptic, for happy birthday, but that song deserves an abortion.
Oof.
Was that song pregnant?
Wow. That was
thank you, Bear. I can see you staring into the fridge where you have your last Dr. Peppers. Say, my precious. Yeah, it's true. I got 2 still stuck in their little plastic 6-pack rings sitting on the shelf in the fridge. And they're just sitting there. And they keep looking at me. And I'm like, someday I will drink you when I know I can have more. Anyway. All right. Well, anyway, so Chris wants us to know, here's why Joe Biden chose Kamala Harris as his VP. But before we do that, because this is the main story of the night, before I find out what Chris thinks, I want to find out what you guys think. Satsu, why do you think Joe Biden chose Kamala Harris?
Because that's who the people who surround him and have propped him up to be the next president want as the next president.
Monkey, any thoughts?
She was a safe choice. He had to go with a woman of color. We know that.
Yep.
And of the ones that we have talked about, she was the one, believe it or not, guys, she's the one with the least baggage. I know. That's the sad part.
Yeah.
Well, the hilarious part about that, though, is the speculation, or at least what I've been hearing in my little circles, is that he did it to secure the black vote. And I'm like, that's asinine. Yeah. Black people hate Kamala. If that was the case, then that's not a very good reason.
There's a difference. I mean, yes and no, because I get what you're saying, and I agree with you in part. But he had to pick a woman of color. If he had picked, say, Whitmer, there would have been a backlash. If you guys remember back in South Carolina, what was his strong suit? What did they talk about? Black women.
Mm.
And after all this talk, if he had hired a white woman, there'd have been people who were just like, fuck it, and I'm walking away.
Yeah.
Either I'm going to sit this one out, or I'm going to vote for Trump, or I'll vote third party, whichever.
And with that in mind, what would have been the alternative? Like, if he absolutely had to pick a black woman, then who else could he have picked that would have been considered more qualified than
Susan Rice?
You think so?
Yeah, I think Susan Rice. I mean, she's also a veteran of the Obama administration. There's not a lot of friction there. She doesn't have a political profile that would compete with his, and she certainly wouldn't have outshined him in name recognition or anything else. And she would have fit all the bills and have governmental experience that would commend her to working in those circles. But yeah, no, Kamala was just too much a big name and been tossed around for too long. Real quick, thank you, Frank Hubbard the fourth. Both of them like living up POC. Good fit. Yeah. And thank you, Cryptic. Biden got the California swing state. Wait, yeah, that was the thing I was just about to bring up. It's like there's no calculus here that she was somehow a geographical pick.
Right.
She coming from California, she doesn't carry California for Biden. That was never a consideration. Now, it is interesting to wonder, what does he lose by not picking someone from further east in a state perhaps that is more at play? We'll talk about that in a second. Thank you, John Miller. I mean, Kamala only tried to kill a man for her precious career. Still don't want to be a future president either. And like I said last night, that's the other consideration that any rational person, and maybe there aren't that many left, is going to have to consider if they're going to vote for Biden. And it's a devil's bargain, because if you don't want, let's say you're not some kind of zealot or something, but you honestly do not want to see 4 more years of Trump. Your only option is to vote for Biden, and 6 months into his term, President Harris. And I know I'm being maybe a little predictive there, but the likelihood that Biden gets through his entire 4 years without health incident, it's a shaky bet.
Well, I don't even think it's that, because as I said before, the people who have been blind to the fact that Biden is a fucking nut job are going to all of a sudden have an epiphany, maybe a year in, where they're just like, maybe he is insane. We've come up with this idea just now. Nobody else thought that until just now. It's us. We just made this up, and it's our thing. He's crazy now. So you should step down and let Kamala take over.
Yep.
Yeah, there's that too. But I don't know. I mean, she shot herself in the foot by going after Biden on busing, which shows a lack of either foresight or I don't know, strategic planning in what she was doing. She got taken down hard by Tulsi Gabbard in public. And after that little exchange, any momentum she had disappeared. Her follow-up interview right after that, if you watch that again, she's so flustered. She is so off the rails. And she couldn't gather enough enthusiasm to keep raising money enough to continue her campaign through the summer. She was done by what, like August or September last year, something like that?
Yeah, she didn't even make it to Iowa.
Yeah. And so as far as boosting Biden, she doesn't have a whole lot there, except for the fact that her name is well known now for losing. And she has weak spots that she's never been able to shore up. I mean, Pence at the vice presidential debate, granted there is one, Pence could literally just read the script of Tulsi Gabbard's takedown of her, and she still wouldn't have any defense to it. So I don't know if this benefits him in the long run. But at the same time, if you don't want Trump for another 4 years, this is your option. You've got a old man who is, and I've seen the comparative video clips from 2010 to now and so on. Oh, I didn't realize it was that dramatic. It definitely is. I'm so used to Biden now that I didn't even have in my mind Biden then, because I didn't really pay attention that much back in Obama's era. So now that I see the comparison, holy cow. So you've got a old man whose cognitive ability is deteriorating by the day, and you have a prosecutor who has been a hypocrite all over the place on different things, and really doesn't have a whole lot of defense when it comes to being challenged on things, because she gets immediately flustered, and she's not very well liked. But again, if you don't want Trump in the office, this is your choice. That's it, which is just boggling to me. It's just, and so just like last time, neither of these options are attractive to me. And so it would take a miracle to sway me towards giving my vote to either side, just like last time, because I have no confidence in either. Thank you, John Miller. Again, there is always the Kanye West option. I suppose you could always go Kanye. But let's see what Chris Cillizza has to say, who has been primarily predicting Kamala most of the time. I mean, I will at least give him that. Most of his weekly updates on the horse race had Kamala at the top of the list most of the time.
Yeah, he was in the ballpark.
Yeah. Joe Biden thinks he is going to win the White House in 84 days' time. That's the unmistakable message he sent just after 4 p.m. Eastern time when, via text, his campaign announced that he had picked Senator Kamala Harris of California as his vice presidential nominee. Hey, Chris, I don't know if he thinks anything at this point, but if he was thinking anything, he wouldn't be in this if he wasn't in it to win it. So he thinks he can win, and the people around him thinks they can get him to win. Kamala Harris, Stacey Abrams, Karen, it wouldn't matter who he picked.
Mm-hmm.
Harris, who ran unsuccessfully for the Democratic presidential nomination earlier this year. Wait, earlier this? No, she dropped out before this year.
Yeah, technically it was last year, but he meant this run.
Okay, I guess.
If I may, real quick, over on my Streamlabs, Always Lost on Nothing Else says donation 187, promise kept. It should have been Kane. It would have made sense running with Undertaker, who is Biden's brother of destruction. Apparently, we made a bet or a deal where if it was Kamala, he was going to donate money. Thank you so much for doing so.
Wow. Very good. You stick to your word. Appreciate that. Thank you, Ex-Bubba Hotep. When do we break the news to Joe Biden that he picked Harris? Well, that's the joke that I figure is going to happen. Yeah, I figured that's going to end up on the Babylon Bee headline, if not today, then tomorrow. It's like Joe Biden excited to find out he picked Kamala Harris as vice presidential nominee.
Yeah.
Let's see. Harris, who ran unsuccessfully for the Democratic presidential nomination earlier this year, had been the front runner to be Biden's pick for months because, well, she simply made sense. All right. Consider, and he has it in bullet points. Number one, she's been vetted on the national stage due to her own 2020 bid. Vetted is one way of putting it. Embarrassed and torn down in public might be another way of putting it.
Yeah.
And also with her dancing video right before she had to call it all off because she couldn't raise enough funds to keep her offices open. Number two, she has experience in government. So does everybody on that stage practically, except for Andrew Yang, I think, as both the California Attorney General and as a U.S. Senator since 2017. Okay. That's not saying much, honestly, because, governmental experiences in that realm, a dime a dozen. At 55 years old, she represents a younger generation of leader, I suppose, as compared to Biden, sure. Something that Biden, who will be 78 on Inauguration Day 2021, said was a major factor in his choice. Okay. She is a historic pick as the first Black and South Asian American woman to appear on a major party's national ticket. As we know, that is the most important thing.
They keep talking that up. Up until now, Kamala's always just been a Black candidate. Now suddenly they're like, guys, she's not really Black.
Yeah. We're not. I mean, if we're measuring in like meters or something, yeah, she's mixed race. But what does that have to do with anything? Nothing.
Yeah, if you're measuring, the majority of her is Asian.
Sure.
She's Indian.
Sure.
But yeah.
Thank you, Frank Hubbard IV. When they edited her info to VP, was it chance or? When they edited her info to VP, was it chance or? I'm not getting that. Are you guys getting that? Edit her info to VP. I'm not quite sure I know what you mean, Frank, but I appreciate the generosity. Let me know in the chat if you clear that up for me. Thank you, Buster's Outlaws 2. Let's crash our Carantoa 7-1 and steal just one Dr. Pepper. What? To a set? Oh, let's crash our car into a 7-Eleven and steal just one Dr. Pepper. I'm not Antifa. So, no. But, I mean, in spirit, I appreciate your frustration. Because I have it too.
You can do it in Portland now. They won't do anything about it.
That's true. Yeah. Mayor Wheeler will probably he'll probably open the door for you as you drive your car through. Okay. Historic pick. Yeah. She's from California, a massive treasure trove of both Democrat votes and Democratic donors. They were going to.
They're going to donate to him anyway.
Yeah. That's irrelevant, Chris. Her geographical origin is superfluous. California et al. Was going to donate and vote Democratic this time, no matter what. It's not even a question. That's a BS point. She emerged as an outspoken voice on race. Oh boy, did she! And the need for police reform, yeah, coming from her, following the death of George Floyd in May and the subsequent protest it sparked around the country. She probably would have jailed George Floyd prior to his death.
Oh yeah, she would have.
Yeah. Let's see. Okay. Frank Hubbard says, y'all read a story about a website announcing her as VP, then removing it a few hours later. Oh, right. The Politico. What, a week, 2 weeks ago now?
2 weeks ago.
Yeah. Was a chance or, well, I don't know. I mean, the one theory was that Politico had prepared an announcement flyer for all of the known runners or runners-up for a VP, and the Kamala one was posted by accident, which is entirely possible. It seemed more like a screw-up than anything else. But you never know. Of course, if anybody at Politico had that kind of for sure inside baseball information on Biden, they would have broken that first.
You know, I'm really not sure about that, to be honest with you. I have a feeling that this all happened because of the push for Karen Bass. That they were ready. They were going to announce. Politico was going to have the scoop on it. And then somebody in the campaign is like, whoa. We're getting a lot of media pushback here. Suddenly Karen Bass jumps into it. And it looks like she's going to be the nominee. And then it's like, whoa. There's too many problems here. And suddenly we're back to Kamala. So this is all guessing, guys. I think they knew in advance.
Well, there is something to be said for how long it took to get us here. Yep. Because you said the first week of August, et cetera, et cetera. So, you know, again, this is all speculation. But then, hey, if Crystal Liza can do it, why can't I? I think that at the end of July, there was a lot of tumult over who to pick, and like you say, Karen Bass came up. They tested the waters with her name. All the communism stuff, the Scientology stuff came up. They're like, no, can't do that. But they might have been ready to announce Karen Bass, and they had to pull it back at the last second. And they had and maybe he called in Gretchen Whitmer or whatever. Or was it Gretchen Whitmer?
Gretchen, yeah.
Gretchen Whitmer, yeah. The last weekend or something, just for, I don't know, it was a smoke screen, or to build up hype or something, or to test the waters with, what if I don't pick a black woman?
I think that was just to tell her she wasn't getting it.
Okay.
And do that in person.
Yeah, I suppose. Okay. Okay. There was no one else on Biden's VP shortlist that checked so many boxes. Yeah, checked boxes. It's true. Notice how none of Chris's points have anything to do with policy.
Sorry, I'm back, guys.
You're sorry you're back? Well, news go. Okay. Okay. What's telling is that Biden and his team didn't feel the need to reach for a less predictable pick. Okay. They knew that while picking Harris would draw considerable attention, it would also be the thing most people expected them to do. I guess.
I agree with that.
Okay. Despite the historic nature of putting Harris on the ticket, Biden and his advisors knew that selecting Harris might be described by some as unsurprising. Then why not in the first week of August? But one man's unsurprising is another man's safe, and that's exactly what Harris is and what Biden believes he needs. See, if you are Joe Biden, oh, here we go, mind reading time. If you are Joe Biden making your third run for president and ahead in virtually every swing state and nationally over President Donald Trump, every day between now and November 3rd, you want to do nothing that threatens to change the underlying dynamics of the race. Excuse me. And those underlying dynamics are that this election is a referendum on Trump's first term in office. Every election involving an incumbent is a referendum on their first term in office. That's not some unique revelation, Chris. More specifically, the deeply haphazard and erratic way in which he has handled the coronavirus pandemic in the country. You want to talk about haphazard and erratic, and you're laying that just at Trump's doorstep?
Well, somebody just said in the chat too that there's been no talk of policy so far.
Yeah.
In regards to this choice.
Yeah, none of Chris's points as to why Kamala made a good pick had anything to do with either policy or political synergy between her and Biden. Nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing. She just hits a whole bunch of relatively arbitrary blocks. Her gender, her race, that she has political experience, the geography she comes from, her age. The closest he gets is she emerged as an outspoken voice on race and the need for police reform following the death of George Floyd. But that is so ambiguous. Checkbox. An outspoken voice on race could be a KKK leader. It doesn't mean anything.
Right.
And honestly, it's an empty point to come up with. It's like, so what is that a policy position on race? Are you gonna have racial policy? Is that what you're promoting here? Okay. Under that theory of the case, Biden needs to spend most of his time convincing voters that Trump deserves to be fired and a relatively small amount of time making sure they believe he could do the job in the incumbent's place. I don't know about that, Chris. I think the first debate is really going to change a lot of people's minds and enthusiasm. One way or the other. I mean, if Biden comes out and sounds like a genius, then yeah, I'll change a lot of things. But what that all means is that Biden wants the race to be about him as little as possible.
That makes sense, actually.
It does. I mean, as long as it's about, as long as they focus on it's a Trump referendum and not a test of Biden, that is beneficial to Biden. That is true.
Well, I think they mean in regards to Kamala too.
Well, sure. No, well, Biden and in any of his picks, any of his thinking or rationale for what he's doing.
Yeah, they're gonna have her do the debates for him, I bet.
She'll be talking in his ear through an earpiece. He doesn't want to turn this into 2016 all over again, in which Hillary Clinton was forced by Trump to play defense over her time and emails at the State Department. Are you saying that Biden's not going to have to play defense on his record, or that Kamala's not going to have to play defense on her record?
Well, hold on. The entirety of the media was all collectively saying that was a hoax. So what kind of defense did she really need to play?
Yeah. He doesn't want the race to turn into a war of words or a battle to see who can sink lower in terms of personal attacks. Yeah, probably because he couldn't keep up if he tried at this point.
No, he couldn't.
Yeah, a war of words, Biden loses, which is why the first debate is going to be something to see. And so in making the most important decision of his campaign, actually, I think the most important decision was to run, honestly. But anyway, Biden abided by that approach. He wanted to, above all, do no harm. Yeah, I guess. Picking former U.S. Ambassador to the United Nations, Susan Rice, who saw her fortunes soar in the final days of the Veep stakes, undoubtedly appealed to Biden since he has the closest personal relationship with her and believes she could help him heal the wounds internationally that Trump has created. But Rice's ties to the attacks in Benghazi, Libya, not to mention her presence in a January 20th, 2017 meeting on Michael Flynn, created clear attack lines for Trump's campaign to turn the spotlight from his failing bid to Biden and Rice. Kamala's got plenty of baggage, dude. I mean, maybe not internationally or something like Susan Rice does. But here's the thing. If, as I said before, and I'll say it the entire time, you have to look at Kamala Harris in terms of becoming president. And the only evidence you have of how she might govern the country is her time as a prosecutor and then as a senator. So her record becomes her job application to become president of the United States. Now, I understand that is always the case with any president who ever runs with a vice president. You know, there's always the possibility that something goes wrong, vice president's the backup. But under these circumstances, and given Biden's health, it is a larger concern this time than in previous presidential run, save for maybe McCain, with the whole Sarah Palin could become president kind of thing. And so, yeah, the only thing you have to look at is how did she handle being in charge of stuff? Because that's going to become important. And her record in that little microcosm of California, in a place that supposedly has all the Democratic support in the world, she's not very popular there. So I don't know, Chris. I don't think she's as safe as you say, because the people over in the Republican side in Trump's camp, they know how to hit buttons.
Now, I'm sorry. Squishy asked me a question earlier that I actually could not answer. Because I told her, I'm like, yeah, he picked Kamala or whatever. And she was like, well, what's her platform? And I was like,
Well, her platform is Biden's platform now.
Well, I mean, I get that, but like outside of her experience, her skin color and her vagina, I was trying to think of something of note that I could, that I could be like, this is what she stands for. This is what her platform is. And I'm just like, I don't really know, honestly.
Well, she was against Bernie Sanders' ideas on healthcare.
No, well, not exactly.
Well, she and him clashed over the ideas. They didn't agree on it.
They did, but if you go back, and I posted a couple of clips on this today. Well, actually, I posted the whole debates just with the timestamps. Remember the whole raising your hand thing?
Mm-hmm.
She was one of the ones who was absolutely for complete government takeover of healthcare. She raised her hand for that. She also raised her hand for the immigrants getting healthcare. So she was actually of the 10 people who were on stage that night, only 3 of them raised their hand for complete government takeover. It was Kamala, Bernie, and I forget who the third one was. I want to say it was Gillibrand, but don't quote me on that.
Well, I read a whole bunch of stories that said that there was this big rift between Harris and Sanders on healthcare.
It's possible.
Yeah.
But that came later after some polls or something, I'm sure. Watch that first debate. Like I say, guys, I tweeted it out. You can real time. So you raise your little hand there.
Thank you, Buster's Outlaws. I wish I could grow Dr. Pepper. So do I. So do I. All right, I'll finish this up because we're already into MSS News time. Skipping down just a little bit. Is the "he's a secret racist" message really going to resonate, given not only that? Sorry, that I got to go up again. Okay, Harris, by contrast, as compared to Karen Bass and all her stuff, had no obvious weakness that the Trump campaign would exploit.
Except for the fact she's a commie.
No. Harris, by contrast, had no obvious weakness that the Trump campaign would exploit.
Oh, there's plenty.
Yeah, I know, which is like, I was like,
what the fuck is he talking about?
I read that line, I was like, what? Yes, it would note, as it shortly did after the pick was announced, it would note? I don't know. That she
campaign.
Oh, yeah. That she had slammed Biden's stance on segregated busing in a June 2019 presidential debate. Quote, not long ago, Kamala Harris called Joe Biden a racist and asked for an apology she never received, unquote, said Trump campaign spokeswoman Katrina Pearson. But it's hard to see that attack doing much damage, given that Biden made history by picking Harris. You see, I have a black friend, everybody.
That's exactly what that is.
Yeah.
Yep.
Now we get on to the meat of it. Is the "he's a secret racist" message really going to resonate, given not only that, but also a series of examples of Trump weaponizing white animosity towards minorities during his time in office?
Okay.
We're going to get several examples.
This is Chris going, no way. And while her prosecutor passed in California might rankle some liberals who believed she was too aggressive in policing, it's equally hard to imagine that liberals, faced with the prospect of 4 more years of Trump, would abandon Biden because of it. And that's really the crux of it. This is your choice now. You have no other option. This is it. So anyway, I'm going to put this link in the chat for anybody else who wants to read the whole thing. That's the wit and wisdom of Chris Cillizza on the whole VP pick. But with all that being said, guys, we're going to move on to MSS News. If you have news stories you'd like us to read on the air, please send them to us via Twitter using the hashtag MSS News. Can't promise to get to them all, but that's because, hey, it's VP Day and we had a lot to talk about. And we'll probably have more to talk about. But moving on, let's see. This one comes from Frosted Glass, of course. And it comes from Medium, of course. Democrats need to prepare for the racist, misogynist attacks coming for Kamala.
Shit.
They need to prepare. They are salivating for anything that even slightly resembles such. Anything. Or in fact, it doesn't even need to be something that's racist or misogynist. They'll just call it racist or misogynist because it's a criticism of Kamala. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, her gender and her skin tone are already the reasons why you cannot criticize her.
Yep. So,
and this is from Jessica Valenti. You recognize?
Oh, this idiot.
Yeah. When Joe Biden announced his running mate on Tuesday, I felt instantly relieved. Kamala Harris isn't just a qualified, exciting pick. She's the perfect young, dynamic foil to Mike Pence's old white regressiveness.
Okay.
And admit it, it will be an absolute pleasure to watch Harris wipe the debate floor with Pence, especially on issues like abortion. I don't know. But be prepared. The attacks on Harris are going to be horrible. And she's rubbing her hands together. She says that. We've already seen how the country reacts when a woman runs for higher office and the nastiness that surrounded Barack Obama's presidency and campaigns. The next few months are going to see a flood of racism and sexism. The best thing the Democrats can do right now is prepare for the bigotry, be ready to defend Harris, and most of all, not just dismiss the attacks, but own them.
Mm-hmm. Encourage them is what she meant to say.
Yeah.
That's what she meant to say. And no matter how not racist or sexist the statement is, you better do everything in your power to make it about that.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Because that is the only chance that we feel like we have.
And I would read the rest of the article, but it really is just various iterations of those same points over and over and over again. So I'm going to save ourselves a little bit of brain cells and move on. Let's see. Thank you, Shrouded Angel. Do vice presidents usually debate each other? Yes, there's always at least one, there's always one vice presidential debate. Usually before the last presidential debate. Usually there's 3 presidential debates, and the vice presidential one takes place between the second and the third, if I remember correctly. Traditionally, I don't know if that's a rule or anything, but does that sound right?
It's what they've done the last few.
Yeah,
I don't know if it's been that way for a long time.
Right.
They used to debate more.
Yes.
Now they're down to just the 3. So
yeah. Let's see. Oh, sorry, I got. Okay, Twitter took me away from where I was, and now I have to go back, start over. Okay. Let's see. This one comes from Wandering Lisa. And thank you, Frosted Glass. In this case, higher office equals diversity higher office. Oh, nice. Oh, that's good wordplay. Good job, Frosted. I approve. Okay, so this is a Slate article. And underneath Slate, it reads, and this is just their little tagline thing, I guess, for the moment. Bow tie spins like a propeller.
all right.
All right, Slate. How to do it. It's the advice column, guys. Sex with my girlfriend has taken an alarming turn in quarantine.
What?
And below that it says, not all of us are cut out to be murderous KGB agents.
What?
I have no idea. Dear How to Do It. Since the pandemic, my girlfriend has been living with me, so we are spending much more time together and having much more sex. Poor boy. Thank you, Keldrig. Formerly Cody Fry, if I'm not mistaken. The only thing Kamala will be wiping the floor with is a mop when Pence leaves her in a puddle of her own tears. I'm not a huge fan of Pence, but trumping Kamala is child's play. Yeah, like I say, just watch that exchange between her and Tulsi, and then watch the interview that Kamala gave right after that debate wrapped up. She, if you get under her skin, she loses the plot real quick. And Pence will certainly not be a Trump in that regard. I mean, if she had to debate Trump, she'd be in real trouble. But all the same, if he goes after her and if he makes any kind of attack on her professional past or anything else, and she doesn't rein it in, yeah, she could make some mistakes.
Yeah, she'll get really angry.
Yep. Okay. While sharing everyday activities is bringing us closer together in some respects, changes in our sexual relationship are driving us apart. Okay. We had what I thought was a fun and varied sex life. We role play, act out fantasies, play with toys, and suggest new things to each other. Lately, she has been wanting more and more bondage. Something that I always enjoyed and initiated as fantasy, but am becoming uncomfortable with in reality. Previously, the most I would ever do was hold her down while having sex with her. That goes into some language that I don't want to use right now. But she has been shopping online like mad for handcuffs and straps and e-stim toys and wanting scenarios beyond my ravishing her to my hurting her. In the past, when we used clamps, I would put them on her, but she would control the tension. So she's topping from the bottom, basically. Okay. Now she wants me to control the tension, but she won't tell me when she's had enough. Okay. Yesterday she started crying, so I immediately stopped the tension, took the clamps off her nipples, and asked if she was okay. But rather than being grateful for my concern, she berated me for going off script.
Dude, she'll tell you when she's not okay. That's the point.
Yeah, if you guys don't have a safe word, you don't have that understanding set up to begin with. Like, if that's part of the fantasy. Part of the fantasy is giving over control, taking control, establishing verbally in a fantasy sense that there is no choice, etc. They're being forced, but also having the safe word in the background that is something completely out of the ordinary to stop it. That's why that's there. If you guys aren't doing that, that's your first mistake, and a majorly important mistake. But in parentheses here, she was a spy, and I was torturing her for information.
I wager you didn't get that information, considering you stopped when she cried.
I appreciate the James Bond thing here. Okay, anyway, she said it was like breaking the third wall in a play, and I spoiled the game. You did, but then it's also her responsibility to set up a safe word. That's the thing. Yeah.
Maybe they had a safe word, and because he saw her cry, he stopped, thinking because he actually said he won't tell me, or she won't tell me when she's had enough. If she got mad at you, she obviously hadn't had enough. Crying can be part of it. It's not something I'm into, but I might have seen some of this on Christian Science Monitor. It's can be part of it.
No, well, yeah, it can be, but here's the thing. If there was a safe word involved, he would have said it, because the fact that he stopped without her saying it, they don't have that established. They've set up some kind of amorphous sense of what the game is and what the scenario is, but they haven't gone over boundaries. They haven't gone over signals.
Or he doesn't think she's smart enough to know.
Well, okay. If he's withholding that piece of information here, he's stupid. Because that would be a real instant red flag of like, well, if you're not waiting for the safe word to be said, if you don't have any respect for her. Now, if it was the first time, like if you're going through some stuff and she starts crying and that's never happened before and it sets you off, and you explain like, well, I didn't expect that, she should at least give you the benefit of the doubt that you didn't do it because you're trying to break the scene, but because you thought you were really hurting her. And then if you say, no, look, that might happen. Seriously, if something's wrong, I will use the safe word. None of that's mentioned here, so I don't think these two are very well experienced with this.
He said it's their first time doing this stuff, and it's just getting more and more. So I just don't think they're experienced enough.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. But safe word is such a meme. It's one of the most basic first rules of doing any kind of restraint play or power exchange. I'm bewildered that hadn't come up here.
She's really easing them into this. It sounds like.
Yeah, like I say, it's a two-way street. I mean, especially in the beginning, both sides have to find where the comfort zone is for both parties. If she's just topping from the bottom and he's just deferring and not pushing back at all. I told her I am no longer comfortable with this, but she dismissed my concerns because she is giving consent. Okay, you guys don't know how this is supposed to work. You're both ignorant of how this is supposed to work. Doesn't consent have to be mutual? Yes. Just because she's willing to receive pain doesn't mean I'm willing to administer it. Yes, your boundaries need to be respected as well. If you're not comfortable with something, you're not comfortable with it. I don't mind playing a KGB agent, but I don't want to be one in real life. I love her and I want to satisfy her, but this is just too much. What can I do? You need to communicate more. You need to set the ground rules. You need to respect one another's boundaries, and you need to be able to explore. Here's some questions that I always recommend people ask each other when they're starting this kind of thing. What really excites you that you love to death and you can't get enough of? What scares you but you're interested in trying? And what is something you would never, ever do? You answered those three questions with each other. Each of you answered those three questions first of like, what are your limits? What are your freedoms on the most basic level? Then you start the conversation of where to go, and then you experiment through action. But you always set up a safe word. You always set up a boundary or something, and then you move on. These guys don't know what they're doing, and he's caught in the submissive role to her topping from the bottom, and he doesn't know what to do, and she's not respecting the fact that he's not ready for this, or it's something that he needs to work up to. So that's what I'm seeing here.
What an odd dynamic. I'd be confused as fuck. It's like you're a sub, or you're pretending to be a sub, but you're dominating the situation, and I'm not really about that, but I have to pretend to be. Just like what?
Yeah, no, I mean, topping from the bottom is not uncommon, and some dynamics work like that perfectly well. But if you're assuming that you're in a different role than the one that you're actually affecting, yeah, this is entirely the fault of a lack of communication and a lack of discussion, and honestly, a lack of respect between her and him for himself. He needs to stand up for himself, and she needs to be willing to listen. But if their power dynamic is all out of whack, it's not going to be helped by not talking about it and not setting some ground rules. So
yeah, it sounds to me like she just believes that this whole dynamic is supposed to just please me, and that's it.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, that's topping from the bottom.
He needs to get ready for the fact that this relationship ain't gonna last.
If that is the I hope they don't have kids. They said girlfriend. This might be a hard stop for the relationship if this can't be sorted out. So anyway, moving on. If you guys would like to hear more of my ramblings about such topics, you can go to my other channel, Non-Author Dark. Non-author is all one word. Non-author dark. Scribe light. Haha. My first several videos on that channel talk about these subjects and my experience with them or thoughts on them. Some of the more recent videos are a little off the beaten path, stuff that wasn't really fit for my regular channel and not specifically about BDSM, but my first several videos on there are about that stuff. Anyway, moving on from that. This one comes from Massive Dynamics. This sounds like a Darwin Award contender. Cleveland base jumper slams into building on his way down, video shows.
Oh.
Okay, well, there's a video attached to this, obviously. A Cleveland woman says she and her cousin were astonished when they noticed what they describe as a base jumper parachuting off of a building in downtown Cleveland early Sunday morning. Lexi Sepulveda says her cousin, Christopher Colon, pulled out his cell phone and began recording as more base jumpers began parachuting off the building. Oh, so it was a team thing. Quote, by the time he landed, I was like, is that a parachute? Did he really just parachute off of the building? And a couple more came after that. 4 of the jumpers landed safely, but witnesses were stunned as the 5th jumper slammed into the Reserve Square building complex on the way down, and his parachute caught on the edge of the building, leaving him dangling 40 feet above the pavement. Quote, we saw him go down really, really fast, and then it was smack just bad, said Lexi. My reaction was kind of closed my eyes. I was actually genuinely scared at first, but then once I saw him moving, it kind of a sigh of relief for a second. That's verbatim what she said, apparently. Witnesses were astounded that the parachutist had only suffered a leg injury, but he was still hanging by his parachute in a precarious position 40 feet above the ground. Quote, it seemed kind of lucky that he got stuck on the building like that instead of kind of hitting it and dropping down. I mean, that would have really been unfortunate, said Patrick O'Shea, whoever that is. Cleveland firefighters summoned to the scene realized that the victim was still in danger of falling, so they decided the fastest and safest way to rescue him was with a ladder truck. After he was freed from the parachute and loaded into a basket, the 35-year-old man was lowered to the ground and then taken to Metro Health Medical Center for treatment of a broken bone. A broken bone.
Wow.
Luckiest mofo.
Lucky bitch.
Yeah. And if his the guy's right, if his parachute hadn't caught and stopped him from falling further, he'd probably be dead, or at least ridiculously injured beyond that. So that's a stupidly lucky guy.
Doesn't sound like a very smart thing to do.
Jesus. Okay. I'm not going to read that one because it deals with a child being killed. I don't want to read that one. Sorry. Inky's will. Appreciate the story, but try to stay away from those unless it's an unavoidable one. Let's see. This one comes from Peter Stewart, our friend of the Great White North. There is nothing left to sell. Canada faces bike shortage amid COVID-19 pandemic. Well, Canada's got bike problems. We've got Dr. Pepper problems. Obviously, we are the worse off. When a Toronto woman decided to buy a new bicycle in the midst of the COVID-19 pandemic, she had no idea how hard it would be to find one. Quote, I haven't had a bike in a long time, and I decided around a month ago to start looking for a bike without having much luck at all, said Gloria Lowe. Lowe said she was relieved when she found a bike at a Toronto shop and paid. Okay, I haven't bought a bike, I think, ever in my life. I think any bike I've had was either a hand-me-down or a gift. And I haven't ridden a bike since I was a teenager. How much would you think a bike would cost these days? Maybe you know. I don't know. What do you guys think?
If it's a really good one, it could be well over $1,000.
Okay. Monkey?
A couple hundred.
She paid $945 for it.
Fuck.
Yeah,
I
dude.
mean,
That's what I was
Better
saying.
come with a driver.
If it's a really, really good one, they can be well over $1,000, dude.
Along with accessories that still needed to be installed. Quote, I did leave the store with my receipt and without any concerns, Lowe said. However, when she went back to pick up the bike days later, it had been sold to another customer.
What?
She has a receipt.
That's not good business.
That's ridiculous. They just what? If you have a receipt, quote, I was kind of disappointed. Oh, yeah, she's Canadian. Sorry, hold on. I was kind of disappointed and confused because basically they had sold my bike to someone else without my permission, Lowe said. Yeah. She bought the bike from Cycle Mania in Toronto. The store did give her a full refund and apologized for what it called an honest mistake. I'd be curious to know what happened. When contacted by CTV News Toronto, the manager said sales are so brisk there was a misunderstanding because staff thought there was a similar bike in storage for Lowe. Okay, so you thought the one that she bought was on hold in the back room, and you just sold the one that you had in front of you?
Sounds like, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it don't
That
sound
happens.
possible. I've seen stuff like that happen, but still.
That sounds like that is a dumb mistake, but okay. The mishap shows how the COVID-19 pandemic has impacted bike sales. No, it doesn't. It shows that somebody made a mistake in stocking. That could have happened in any time in history. That's not a COVID-19 related thing.
I guess what they're implying is because there was only one to deal with
That's a stretch.
People are buying bikes so they can stay out of Ubers or something.
Oh, well, no, I mean, no, I get what the rationale for buying a bike is, but to say that the mistake was made because of COVID-19 doesn't make any sense.
Oh, the actual act itself of
it's well, I mean, the line says the mishap shows how the COVID-19 pandemic has impacted bike sales around the world as people buy them to ride to work, avoiding public transportation, as well as staying in shape. You could have had this entire story start there. And it had nothing to do with the anecdote, because the anecdote has nothing to do with the COVID-19 pandemic. That was a stocking error.
Yeah, the shortage maybe, but not the mishap.
Okay. Anyway, but yeah, I was kind of disappointed. You were kind of disappointed. You pay almost $1,000 for a bike and they sell it out from under you. I'd be more than a little disappointed. I'd want them to order me what I bought. and then give me some kind of a discount or refund on it for having inconvenienced me after selling my purchased item. Thank you, Picala Driving 8 Man. There are bikes for sale everywhere. Well, maybe where you are. I mean, I don't know. Are you in Toronto? I don't know where you are. I'm not looking to dox you. I don't know. We're going to do one or two more here because we did go a little long on the news. Okay, this is the headline has confused me, so I'll read this one. This one comes from Shrouded Angel. Pincala says, I live next to Toronto. Oh, well, you see, the bike shortage stops where you live and goes no further. That's see, you're in a fortunate part of the country. Student forced to deny pregnancy after friends mistake her bag for a baby scan in selfie. What?
What?
Oh my God. That is so stupid. Okay, I'm putting a link in the chat. I don't even need to read the story. Just scroll down to the second photograph in the story. You only need to see the first top half of it. Oh, Jesus.
All right, on my way.
That's stupid.
All right, let's see here.
Oh my. Oh my.
Oh, seriously?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's got your eyes.
I know. I was about to say, wow, what a beautiful child that amorphous blob will be. For those of you listening at home, let me try to describe this to you. So imagine, if you will, a black vinyl / plastic sort of handbag that is rectangular in nature. Imagine a girl holding this up above her head, whereas the long sides are going up and the short sides are top and bottom. And the reflection on the surface of the material is kind of wobbly, kind of reflective in places, but then it's black plasticky. And imagine that in a very, if you squint and think about it abstractly for a moment, kind of looks like a sonogram / X-ray kind of thing. Yeah, that's what apparently made people think that she was pregnant, not that she was holding up a purse.
Yeah.
She was quickly inundated with messages from friends asking if she was announcing a pregnancy by holding what they thought was an ultrasound above her head. The 19-year-old from Manchester was even forced to delete the image from Twitter, where cruel trolls accused her of faking a pregnancy for attention and slamming her for going drinking while pregnant.
Damn. Okay.
Wow. She said, I've actually chucked the bag out because of all the drama it gave me. Me and my family were going out for a bottomless brunch at Dry Martini for my sister's 30th. I posted it originally just before going out, thinking it would just be my friends that saw it. I then put it on Twitter because I thought I looked pretty. I have quite a few followers and thought it would be nice. Then it went just completely weird. When people were thinking it was a baby scan, it did make me giggle, seeing as I put the caption, "Let's get drunk."
Well,
I would have left that shit up.
Sometimes that's the reaction.
Yeah, I would have left that up. I would have framed that purse, and I would have sent out a picture like every week for a month of a different angle of light hitting it and saying it happened again. That's hilarious. I mean, it's ridiculous, but it's hilarious. 19 and drinking says Faithless. In the UK, 19 is drinking age. You can drink when you're 19.
Yeah.
Let's see. And several people sent the Dr. Pepper story for me specifically. Thank you, guys. I think I'm going to call it there, guys. I know we went a little overtime on the Kamala stuff, but I know we got plenty to talk about in the wonderful world. So thank you guys so much for all the stories. Appreciate it. Anything we don't get to, be sure to also tag MSS News and MITAM, because you never know, it might end up in Monkey in the Morning. Maybe.
Yeah, I might actually read my hashtag once in a while.
Yeah, but you'll have to remind him to, like he just said. But with that, we'll move on to YouTube time. I did not do anything today except prep today's theme, which I got many compliments from people on. So thank you guys so much. I had fun making that thumbnail, and it looked really cool, I think. Irate Alex was particularly offended that I was writing him. He did not appreciate that too much in a joking, lighthearted manner. Otherwise, I am tentatively doing a TEDx tomorrow. It will all depend on work stuff because the aftermath of today's events may cut into my time tomorrow. I don't know yet, but as soon as I have an idea, I will post a notice on that. And then Thursday, again, tentatively, because it depends on real life issues that aren't mine, but Sinatra's. On Thursday, there is a plan to do a tandem TEDx with myself and Sinatra Says. So watch out for that. And other than that, that's all that I've got. Satsu, what have you been up to?
Not much today. Just hanging out with the lady and the baby. But she did sit down with me and help me make more of a reasonable schedule type thing so I can be able to get work. Because we've been trying to juggle dealing with the baby, and she comes home, she wants to spend some time together. There are times where I want to work or do other stuff, or also working out and all that shit. It's just a clusterfuck right now. So we both sat down and came up with like a schedule where she would be happy because she'd have her designated time and I can get stuff I need to get done and Aaliyah can be taken care of or whatever. So we'll try to do that and see how well that works. Of course, Aaliyah is the joker in this whole setup here. So it's pretty much going to be based on whatever the hell she got going on. But just trying to be a little more efficient. There is a project that I'm working on the side that I'm going to try to start doing to enhance my reach for one of my channels. So you guys will start seeing the results of that whenever I get to it. But that's pretty much it for me.
All right. Monkey, what have you been up to?
Let's see. I did a monkey in the morning, and I did a game stream. Guys, I'm trying to figure out why it keeps doing it twice. It keeps dual streaming it to YouTube. No idea why. YouTube hasn't answered me yet, at least that I saw last. So I will try not to make that happen. But if you guys are watching one of my game streams, make sure you're watching the one with the game title in it. If it just says something like Ranting Monkey Gaming Streaming Live or whatever, nobody's in that chat. Go over to the other one. Go over there and hang out with us. But otherwise, yeah, that's all I've been up to. And probably right after this, I'll do a monkey in the morning that's going to go over Kamala quite a bit. So.
Mm-hmm. I would imagine so. All right. Well, then on to the wonderful world of internet circuitry. I got a couple of things. First off, apparently a Fresh Prince of Bel-Air series reboot is in the works.
Oh, good Lord.
Because why not, I suppose? Isn't Uncle Phil dead?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, Uncle Phil's dead. I don't know how fresh a prince Will Smith could be at this point.
Maybe it'll be a son.
Probably. Or it'll be the Fresh Princess of Bel-Air.
Could be, yeah.
Yeah. And, let's see. I'm going to skip that one because I'm pretty sure Monkey's going to bring up that one because he was the one that commented on it first. And I posted some images today, and I said, "It begins!" And I show the text, or at least the reported text, of the exchange between Kamala Harris and Biden on the whole busing thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll just read a little bit. Harris also accused Biden of opposing busing, which Biden disputed. Quote, "There was a little girl in California who was part of the second class to integrate her public schools, and she was bused to school every day, and that little girl was me," Harris said. Quote, "I will tell you that on this subject, it cannot be an intellectual debate among Democrats. We have to take it seriously. We have to act swiftly." Harris's official Twitter account quickly followed up, posting a photo of the candidate as a child. Biden called Harris's attack, quote, "a mischaracterization of my position across the board," and launched into a fiery defense of his record on race. Quote, "I did not praise racists." Harris followed up after Biden defended himself. Quote, "Do you agree today that you were wrong to oppose busing in America?" I did not oppose busing in America. What I opposed is busing ordered by the Department of Education. I have supported the Equal Rights Amendment from the beginning. I'm the guy that extended the Voting Rights Act for 25 years. We got to the place where we got 98 out of 98 votes in the United States Senate doing it. I've also argued very strongly that we, in fact, deal with the notion of denying people access to the ballot box. And I'm honestly amazed that Biden was able to string those words together back then, which just says more about where he's at now and how quickly things have changed. And then today, that was all reported back last year. And then today from the Washington Post, the headline says, no, Kamala Harris didn't call Joe Biden racist. I'm like, okay, you're right. She never used the word. You're right, Washington Post.
And she was very careful. I think it was in the second debate to tell Joe Biden, I don't think you're racist.
Yeah.
But then went into how racist he was.
Right, exactly. Yeah, she didn't say it. Yeah, okay. You know, Washington Post, you guys are so good at reading between the lines of a cookbook whenever Trump says anything sideways. Mm-hmm. You're immediately giving her a pass. Okay. Thank you, Joe Fapps. Has anyone played the Destroy All Humans remake? I have not. I've watched a little bit of gameplay of it.
I was just looking at that the other day, and I never played the original. Mm-hmm. But I was like, is this something I should get? I haven't, but it's something I'm looking at. But I have so many other games right now, so yeah.
Satsu.
Oh no, I've seen some videos on it. People seem to be pretty happy with it.
The video that I watched, the guy seemed to enjoy it, and I don't know if it's my kind of game, but it looks fun. I mean, it would be something that in the olden days would be a rental for me, but I don't even know if they do that anymore. And I don't have a console that would play it. Let's see. And when the announcement of Kamala Harris as his running mate came out, I said, an old white man who knows who is and isn't ideologically black running for president, and the POC VP pick that knows he's a racist. Perfectly balanced, as all things should be. And then just a little while before Kamala was announced, was a report. New Georgia Democrat Stacey Abrams was informed today that she is not Joe Biden's vice presidential pick. A source familiar with the matter tells CNN. And I said, I think she already had a hint, and so did we. And I posted a picture of her facial change from happy to death on that interview that she did a couple months back.
We asked her for comment, and her only comment was, I didn't lose.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Yeah. Stacey Abrams appeared today announcing her vice presidential position.
Right.
Let's see. Oh, yeah. And there was this, I might be stepping on monkey's toes here, but there was this post from YouTube creators today. And it read, if you care about a social issue, your audience will too. Don't be afraid to start a conversation just because it's different from your typical content. It's more critical than ever to share your experience and take a stand. Where do you start? And I said, don't be afraid. Given the indecipherable vicissitudes of YouTube's permissible/monetizable content policy, like, say, having or relaying a medical opinion counter to the WHO's, this tweet does not at all assure me that the thought crime minefield has been cleared. Don't be afraid. Whatever. Give me a break. And then, of course, the most poignant question of the day came from Chris Saliza in a tweet that said, did Donald Trump destroy political prognostication forever? And I said, well, no. I mean, you're still employed, so... But, yeah. And I guess the last thing I've got, and a story that I didn't get to before, but I'll just sum up real quick. And I was just watching the vote yesterday and then today. The Seattle police chief, the first female black police chief of Seattle, resigned. Or I should say she's retiring, which is effectively the same thing, at the beginning of next month. Because... I watched a little bit of the press conference. She was very, grateful, diplomatic and everything. But behind the scenes, she was ordered by the mayor to abandon her own police precinct and let Chaz take root and stay away from it. And B, in that budget vote yesterday, for no particular reason that they ever justified, they decided to cut her salary in the course of all that. They put an amendment in there to cut her salary and that of her executive staff significantly. And in this process, they never discussed it with her. So they chose, and this is my tweet. So the Seattle City Council, none of whom went 30 seconds without invoking the struggles of BIPOC during yesterday's vote, did not involve the city's first black female police chief in the budget discussions. They didn't have her at the table. Amazing. And now they've lost her. And now they got a whole shakeup. And apparently this was a big surprise. I mean, when I heard it, I was like, well, that makes sense. But apparently over there, it was a big surprise. A lot of people were shocked. They didn't think that would happen. I thought, why wouldn't she? She's been undercut in the most significant ways you can possibly imagine. Public safety of her own officers, giving up territory to anarchists, and then having her salary cut as though it were some kind of punitive act for her. For what? Just being her? Give me a break. Yeah, of course she quit. And I'm completely behind her on it. Yeah. That was just amazing. I just thought, and people like going, oh my God, she quit. Really? Are you really that surprised? Amazing. So they get to pick it. Yeah, the city council and the mayor get to pick up the pieces. And the really funniest part was when the mayor came out after the chief made her little speech. The mayor was so I'm mind reading here, I'm guessing here, but she was so confounded about what to say at the beginning. She was so choked up, not, I think, because of the nice things that the chief had said, but because of the world she had created for herself, that she stumbled in actually beginning her speech. She was so without words for what was going on. So anyway, that's my fucketry. Satsu, what do you got?
In regards to the story you were just talking about, the fucked up part about that is all the people who are negatively affected, who didn't think that it was going to affect them, who thought it was like, oh, this is going to be a positive change. I know it, and it's going to benefit me because I'm on the right side. All those people, they're most likely going to walk away and be like, look what Trump did to us.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And that's the worst part about it. It's just like, God, y'all can't even see it, man. Like the person is walking behind you. They have the chain around your neck, and you're just like, that damn Trump. It's like, fuck, dude.
Real quick, thank you, Meowsers, for the Dogcat Fox. Hiya. Hi, Dogcat Fox. Yay, Dogcat Fox. Go ahead, Sets.
All right, so the first couple things I'm going to talk about are going to be my post today. One being, pay very close attention to the people in your timeline who have been denying that Biden is not mentally sound. Because most likely, in about a year's time, if Biden does win, they'll all of a sudden notice how fucked up he is in the head and want him to step down so Kamala can take over. And there will be no mention of any of the people who previously stated this before. It'll be a distant thing and then a mythical thing, and everybody who brings it up will be ignored. The media won't talk about it at all because right now, as it stands, this is a Trump-fueled conspiracy theory. Just in case anybody was wondering. As it stands right now, according to the media, Biden's mental health or lack thereof is a Trump-fueled conspiracy theory. So we'll see that change very soon. And I will be there when it happens. I'm just calling it now. I wanted to immortalize my tweet there just in case, because I'm like, all right, remember this. We'll see. But that is, of course, if they win. Next post I put out is where'd it go? Judging from the responses on Black Twitter and Facebook, because oh boy, have I been lurking. Kamala is either the best or the worst decision that Biden could have ever made. It's interesting. They are fighting with each other in there. Because there are some people, particularly people from California, who are like, no fucking way. Like, I'm not doing it. Nope, not fucking doing it. And other people are just like, our lives are at stake. You can't. Well, one of the comments was just like, oh, you're really going to try to compare Trump dismantling our entire democracy and destroying America as we know it to Kamala making a few mistakes? I'm just like,
A few mistakes.
A few mistakes. Yeah.
I'm just like, all right, okay. Now, like I said, I'm not for either, so I ain't got no dog in this race. I just all I got is an industrial sized bag of popcorn.
Isn't that just a weird place to be, where it's like, it's like either way it goes, I'm not going to be happy, but I'll shrug my shoulders and move on because there wasn't a good option either way. And so, it's actually kind of nice not having like a zealotrous drive to support or attack either one. I just find the whole thing ridiculous. So,
yeah, it is very interesting, and I pointed this out earlier. The fact that Black Lives Matter advocates are now, after all this shit has happened, going to have to vote for both a racist and a cop.
Yeah.
Cop. At the same, I'm like, y'all have to vote for both of these things at once. Y'all just got done protesting against this. ACAB. All cops are bastards, remember? So I asked on Twitter, like, so these are going to be deleting out of people's profiles over the next couple of weeks, right? Because we like cops right now, right? We like feds. We like cops. Kamala's going to be in office, and y'all seem pretty happy about it. So not all cops are bastards. I thought that was pretty funny. There are some people, though, who are very against this, though. Just to be fair. Not everybody's jumping on the Kamala train. Some people are like, fuck that bitch. But the narrative that if you vote for nothing, like if this decision and Kamala showing up and having to vote for Biden has pushed you to the decision to not vote at all, then you might as well just vote for Trump.
That was the logic that lost me my best friend, effectively. I mean, not exactly, but that's yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
They said support for no one in this race is direct support for Trump.
Yep. God.
I had somebody tell me voting third party was a vote for Trump.
I have whenever I hear some semblance of that logic, I now have some kind of like weird PTSD flashback just in the back of my heart about that whole thing, because it still stings. That whole thing was so ugly.
Yeah, I know the feeling, man. There was a post that came up earlier saying, stop demonizing riots. Without riots, you would still be working 10 to 12 hours, 6 days a week.
Bullshit.
Riots are good, guys. You need to stop demonizing them. It says the main contradiction of liberal democracy is that it has largely been shaped through a history of various forms of illegal civil disobedience against entrenched power structures. Such civil disobedience is retrospectively seen as justified, and people who are committing it are retrospectively seen as heroes. But each successive generation is asked to believe that any further civil disobedience would be unreasonable. And they're saying that this is ridiculous. And I'm just like, okay, I hear you. Are you rioting or not? Because I'm getting mixed signals here. Y'all seem to be fully in support of rioting, and we're like, okay, look, we love rioting. It's necessary. We need to fucking do it. Don't demonize rioting. Okay, well, I don't really like rioting. Well, good thing we're not doing it. It's not us. It's infiltrators and other people. We don't riot. We're 100% peaceful. I'm just like, you got to pick a lane, man. You can't be on both at the same time. It's got to be one or the other. And the tripped out part is I don't really have a particular. I'm just like, if that's your argument, that's fine. If you think that rioting is what needs to happen to move change, then I'm like, that's your opinion. I respect the fact that that's what you think. I don't agree per se, at least not fully, because there have been some instances where people fucking shit up has resulted in some very instantaneous results that they felt was a victory. Fine. If that's what you feel, then great. But like, pick a fucking lane. Are you rioting? Are you not? Is it infiltrators or is it not? Or is it both? Like, you can even if you said that, it's just like, yes, we are rioting, but there's a lot of stuff being incited that isn't us. And I'm like, okay, that's even a more balanced setup. But there are people straight up saying like rioting is good and you shouldn't be demonizing it. It's what we need to do. And it's like, well,
but we're not rioting.
You probably shouldn't be doing that. Well, we're not. It's not us. It's somebody else. It's like, okay, so it's good. You fully support it, but you won't do it. Why won't you do it? Why aren't you doing it? If you're telling me that it's helpful, but you're also telling me you won't do it because you're 100% peaceful. I'm almost obligated to feel like you're full of shit. But yeah, that's been interesting. And the last thing I saw was you guys ever watch what's the name of the black dude that makes all those he does like the skits and shit all the time. It's like these really funny scenes. I forgot them. Why am I forgetting his name?
Andre, what's his name?
Nothing's coming to mind.
That's his name.
What's his name?
Griffey. Griffy.
Oh, okay.
He wears glasses or whatever. He's hilarious.
No idea.
Well, he made a skit recently about parents that complain about everything. And I'm like, I need to send this to Monkey because I'm sure he had to probably deal with this shit too. Because there was one in particular, he opened the fridge and she like, hey, why you got my goddamn refrigerator door open? He's like, I'm just trying to get something to eat. And she was like, well, grab something and close the motherfucking door. Just like yelling at him for everything. And at the end of the video, she like, fuck are you doing? And he's like, I'm sitting down. And she was like, get your ass up. Ain't no sitting down in my house. He stood up and she like, what are you doing? He was like, I'm standing up. No, ain't no fucking standing in my house either. So he tried to sit out again. She's like, no, don't sit up, don't stand down. I mean, don't sit down, don't do shit, don't do a motherfucking thing in my house.
Damn.
That is a perfect representation of the logic behind the white fragility argument. There is no right answer. There's no right reaction to being accused of being a racist.
Oh my god, dude! And it's so funny because like it is a bit over exaggerated, but I swear to God, man, that's how hood mamas was. Funny, man. Like, make up your mind, bitch. What do you want me to do? But that is my fucking trip for today. I'm gonna drop the link for you guys to see it if you want to.
All right, Monkey, what do you got?
Oh, let's see, shall we? A lot of Kamala stuff, of course. I don't want to do too much of that because most of it's stuff we've already gone over. But there was this one woman. She was replying to somebody else. Let's see. She's replying to a tweet that says, there's no need to be mean to Kamala Harris. I think it's pretty cool that other women now know what it takes to get ahead. And this woman got mad. She says, you're a jerk. I'm not a Kamala Harris supporter. To imply the only way a woman can get ahead is to sleep with a powerful man, just tasteless. Well, Kamala's being held up. The chick who's running for the Libertarian Party, Jo Jorgensen or whatever the hell her name is, she's like, it's so great that women and girls have somebody to look to, that they have a voice in this election. Well, if you're going to hold her up as a paragon of what women should be and can be, it's perfectly acceptable to talk about how she got there.
Yeah.
And she got there by fucking a married dude who had a lot of power in the city of San Francisco. That's just fact. Was it Frisco or LA? Whichever. Willie Brown is his name. I want to say it was Frisco. Anyway, that's how she got ahead. That's how she got her political start and her big push. Willie Brown. Fucking him. And it wasn't even a secret. I mean, she used to go to events with him and his wife. If you're going to sit there and talk about, well, she's an example, well, then that's the example that's being set. Sorry. Let's see. This one from Maggie Haberman just made me laugh my ass off. In the same way that Obama asked Clinton to be Secretary of State after a brutal primary, Biden is choosing the person who dinged him the hardest on stage. His team knows this and is betting people realize it's something Trump, who lives in grievance, would not do. What the fuck are you talking about? They picked her just to spite Trump because that shows that Biden will side with the person who tried to rip him down the hardest.
No, it shows that Biden has humility. He can take criticism from a peer.
No, that wasn't criticism. There's a difference between criticizing somebody's policies and stuff and going, you're a racist. I mean, I'm not calling you a racist, but you're a racist. because people brought this up early on not early on this last week when they were talking about how Reagan picked Bush and he had called it voodoo economics. Yeah, but he didn't say you hate black people.
Mm-hmm.
There's a difference. And even in that one, when she brings up Obama picked Clinton to be Secretary of State, he didn't pick her as his running mate.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm still waiting for YouTube to get back to me on my double streaming problem. This is the third party thing I talked about. So Alyssa Milano, she is all over this. She loves that Harris was picked by Joe Biden. Now, here's something else you need to know about Harris. Not only did she call him a racist, she didn't call him a racist, but she called him a racist. She also is on record as saying she believes his accusers.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Alyssa Milano, who made a big deal about making sure she could be seen in the gallery when Brett Kavanaugh was testifying, because women, #MeToo, blah, blah, blah. She's all on board for a woman who thinks Joe Biden, at the very least, sexually harassed women, now working for him, throwing away any kind of feminist belief so that she can get ahead in politics.
Ahead.
Right. And I point this out, and this woman's like, hey, vote for a third party. And I told Alyssa, I'm like, you can vote third party. This woman, a vote for a third party is a vote for Trump, who blows Joe out of the water in accusations. He's nobody's first choice, but he's better than Trump. Oh, okay. So if somebody is only accused of raping, say, 2 women, you vote for them over the guy who's been accused 4 women, instead of saying, you know what, I'm not voting for either of you.
Well, what's crazy is that is their logic, or at least they claim it's their logic, but they'll still turn around and say, a vote for a racist, it makes you a racist, or a vote for a sexist makes you a sexist. And they just except for when we have to do it. Yeah. This is different. We're not doing it because we want to. We're doing it because somebody is making us, I guess.
The last one I want to hit on, I'm going to get off the Kamala stuff. The DA for the county there of Portland, he had a press conference today where he's not going to prosecute felony riot, escape, harassment, interfering with an officer, criminal trespassing, and many more.
What?
Charges of assault on officers will be subject to, quote, high scrutiny.
Oh, Jesus. Okay, keep putting a green light up to more destruction and mayhem. Go ahead. Good job, guys.
Indeed. So if you guys are, up for some criminal mischief, I'm not saying to do it, but Portland seems to be your place to go. And I did want this one last thing because it's funny. This woman tweeted out today, what does Kamala and COVID have in common? Both have been known to spread fast.
Oof. Oh.
That's all I got.
Well, with that sick burn, we open it up to your guys' time. If you have comments, questions, complaints, conspiracy theories, let us know. If you have questions for us, please put plenty of chat marks after those so we know it's for us. If you have any statements for us to consider, please put plenty of statement marks after those. Despite what Satsu might say otherwise, we do entertain your thoughts from time to time. Don't listen to him. Let's see. Just a reminder that tomorrow we'll be on Monkey's channel at the regular time, 6 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Central, 9 p.m. Eastern for Lords of the Night. I may be doing a TED Excellence tomorrow. If I do, it will be at noon Pacific time, 2 p.m. Central, 3 p.m. Eastern. Keep an eye on my Twitter for that announcement. And are you guys gaming after this?
Nope.
Not tonight.
Okay. It's sometimes it varies. I know most Tuesdays you don't, but sometimes it varies. So, but Monkey may be doing, and probably will be doing, a Monkey in the Morning sometime after this, where he will focus on the Kamala la 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 la. Sure. As my brain got caught on the last syllable there. Tack Alpaca, do you think Kamala Harris thinks cereal is soup?
No, she's not that smart.
Oh. Angry Illinoisian, when are we going to rename California to China Light? I don't know that I'd call it that bad. I mean, it depends on what city you're living in, really. It's not all bad. Pirates Creek, considering that Kamala just died, isn't this a tasteless choice? What?
What?
I don't understand what that means. So I don't know. Cannibalistic Wizard, did you know on the game Monk's playing, his people are very, very prone to stairs?
Yeah, they keep dying under suspicious circumstances.
Oh, the wrestler Kamala. Oh, right. And it was.
Yeah, he did.
And last name was Harris too.
Was it?
I believe so. Yeah. His stage name was Kamala. So it's like a middle name. I forget what his first name was, but it was something Harris, and his stage name was Kamala, which was kind of confusing when I saw. I was like, oh, that's bizarre.
That's sad.
Thank you, Hazmat Sad Boy. Scribe, tell Monk when will he play The Long Dark. Also, I'm living in California and I'm not a commie, so no China Light. Yeah, like I say, it depends on. I mean, first off, it depends on what city you're living in, and then really it depends on what neighborhoods you're living in from there on. And not every town in California is like that. But yeah, Monkey, when are you gonna play The Long Dark?
Probably not for a while. I do have it, and if I do play it, eventually I will play it, but not necessarily publicly. I just have too many games. Several people have been throwing games at me. You should play this. You should play this, and I appreciate all of the recommendations, but my plate is full pretty much through the end of October, I believe.
Keeverdam, if the early bird gets the worm, why do good things come to those who wait? Well, if you're there early, you get it before anybody else, so you spend more time. They both work.
Because the worm who waits to poke his head out probably is going to live.
Well, hold on. Maybe the early bird does get the worm, but the one who waits gets the biggest worm.
Could be. This is becoming very philosophical. I need to move on. I'm an English major. Let's see, and then Chap jumped. Nothing for you here. Do I win a prize for predicting Kamala Harris would be Biden's VP pick before he even won the nomination? If you show your receipt, you got a tweet or something that's dated, then you get the honorary Saliza Prize. I just made that up. For political prognostication. There you go. Janathor, custodian of Nigel City. If Biden loses, do you think he'll punish Kamala by sniffing away her blackness? Like if he finds out Kamala didn't even vote for him, then you're black. Stacey Gardner, Scribe Light, Lords of the Night. What kind of dirt do you think Kamala has on Biden to make her his VP?
I don't think that's the case.
Don't think that's the case at all.
No, yeah. This is. I mean, Chris was right on a couple of points. She's a safe pick, in relative terms to everybody else, and she is her name has a lot of weight to it for basically existing, but not for any really substantive reason. Irate Bear. But I mean, like I said, I think it's very significant to note that nothing of what Chris noted as reasons why Biden picked her had anything to do with policy or synergies on their political stances on anything. Nothing. I think that subject's going to become more and more a problem for the campaign. Is it necessarily a deal breaker when it comes to the election? I couldn't say, but it will be pointed out. Let's see. John Miller, but the second mouse gets the cheese, Scribe Light. I don't know, guys.
Smart worm sleeps late.
Oh, Lord. Wes Wolliver. Biden could have picked Aunt Jemima. She has plenty of free time now. I guess that's true. Mata Winter. Oh, lords, would you fight a member of Antifa while you wield a pair of squirrel nunchaku, orange ninja turtle weapon? You mean Michelangelo? That talk in a Cockney accent or run a marathon? Would I rather run a marathon versus fighting Antifa with turtle nunchucks? I'd probably run the marathon because I don't have any interest in fighting anybody.
If I was young and healthy, I would love to fight him.
I'd probably hurt myself more with a nunchuck than I would actually anybody else.
I'd throw it at him and just punch.
Hmm?
I said, are the squirrels still alive? That's important.
Yeah, well, I think it's at the squirrel part, yeah. Let's see. And I love that Mata had to point out, like, which turtle used what weapon so we'd recognize it. Not that I'm old enough to know or nothing. Let's see. Nothing for you here. Scribe, I predicted it in December of 2019. Hey, like I say, post your receipt. Tag us. You know, I will award you the Saliza Prize for political prognostication. Publicly. Lucifer Never Changes. Lords of the Night. Did you know Kamala translated from Finnish to English is horrible? I did not know that. So, there you go. Frosted Glass. Anyone else eager to see the ACAB rioters' reactions to Kamala? Well, Satsu was just bringing that up earlier. Not only that you got a cop, but you also have a racist and a rapist, depending on how you look at it, or at least someone who is accused of sexual assault by credible women, and so on and so forth. Yeah, it's good. Many people are going to have to deny the reality of their own past stances and hold their noses if they're voting for Biden, if they really meant what they said previously about Trump, you know, so.
Which we know they didn't.
Yeah, well. Let's see. Stacy Gardner, Skylight, Lords of the Night. Why did Master Splinter give the pothead the nunchaku? I thought Michelangelo was just a pizza freak. I mean, they're all pizza freaks, but Michelangelo was particularly pizza freak.
Well, I mean, if any of them's a pothead, it's Michelangelo.
Yeah, I mean, if you go back to the original comics, which were grim and dark and were not cartoony or happy at all.
Yeah.
The old Eastman, was it Eastman Ellis or something like that? I mean, I had one of the like original collections at one point a long time ago, and that shit was gritty. That was not, it's one of those things where, like, if you look at the original material and then you look at what they turned it into, it's like, wow, they really got away with a total sea change of atmosphere and attitude. But I could believe that Michelangelo was a pothead, certainly. Back when they all had red bandanas and they didn't distinguish except by their weapons.
Yeah, I just found that out about was it Yu-Gi-Oh or whatever?
Mm-hmm.
Manga for that before the actual show came out. They like, dude, this shit was so dark and so like just devoid of any humor or anything like that.
Yeah.
It was this really horrible, just like there's death and soul stealing and fucking people doing these terrible things.
Mm-hmm.
And no, it's a card game. It's fun, guys.
Delford Zero, Scribelight, have you or Satsu had unexplained experiences like Ranting Monkey's ghost? When I was very young, I saw something that I thought was a UFO. It was probably a plane, but I didn't know any better. Aside from that, except for instances in my life of like, and they don't happen all the time, but they're frequent enough to be noticeable, of just weird cosmic coincidence. I can't really give any specific examples without giving away certain things, but just like, talking about somebody that I hadn't even thought of for 3 years or something, and then the next day they call me out of the blue. That kind of stuff. Little things like that. They happen a lot, and it's, or at least significantly enough and often enough that it's kind of odd. I've had those happen way too many times, and sometimes I just wonder, something up? But I don't have any like specific, like a ghost story or something. So no. Satsu, you got anything like that?
I used to think the house that I grew up in was haunted because the lights used to flicker on and off, TVs used to turn on and off by themselves, and we had a cat that used to say my name all the time, which was very weird and creepy. And I used to tell my mom that, and she'd like, "Shut the hell up, boy! A cat ain't saying your name." Until one night, he was under her bed, and he kept saying my name like over and over again. And she thought she was dreaming, but she woke up and she was like, "Oh my God, that is fucking scary." I'm like, "I told you that fucking cat says my name and it's terrifying." But otherwise, not Not really. I was really afraid of the dark as a kid, though, so everything fucking scared me in the dark. So,
Lord Famine said it was Eastman and Laird. That's their names. Eastman and Ellis. I think I was thinking of the other comic book of it. Yeah, Eastman and Laird were the creators of Ninja Turtles. Adabisi, can you unpick a vice president at any point, or when is the last chance for Biden?
After the nomination.
Right. Yeah. After the nomination, once you're up there, it's kind of set. I mean, I don't know if there's a law about it or what the procedure. I don't think there's anything that says you can't, like, let's say you get elected president. I don't think there's anything that says you can't drop your vice president at any particular point.
What, once you're president?
Yeah.
Well, they've been voted on at that point.
That's true. Oh, yeah, that's true too. But
so at that point, it takes like an act of the Senate, I think it is.
But the vice president could choose to step down at any point, couldn't they?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. And that I don't think that's happened.
Nixon.
Well, yeah, that's right. Nixon. Yeah, it was
Agnew.
Yeah, Spiro Agnew, and then on to Ford. That's right. Yeah, not since Nixon. So, I mean, Trump could conceivably change up his vice presidential candidate.
He can do that at any point before the nomination. Once the nomination's set, they have rules for how they would do that if there's a change.
Right.
Once they've been elected, that's it's a much bigger deal at that point.
Thank you, Keldrig. So your cat just chanted Justin, Justin in the midnight hours?
Precisely.
Dr. No, Scribe Light, have you seen the movie Heavy Metal? Yes, a long time ago. It was one of those things that, like, it was sitting, like, I saw it at the video store. I remember the video store, and like there were some movies where like the box art, there's just something like, that's not for little kids kind of thing. And Heavy Metal was one of those. Not Heavy Metal 2000. I never really liked that one, the original. So yeah, I saw it, and it felt taboo watching it because this is a cartoon for adults, which was kind of a unique thing back then. To see a movie that was animated that was for a mature audience was not as normal as it is today.
Which is weird because that cartoon started for adults.
Yes. Yeah. But especially when it came to, like, because in my world, if you saw a movie that was an animated movie, Disney, you thought Disney.
Sure.
You thought kids stuff. And that was just where my mind was at for most of my growing up, because that was my only concept of an animated film. Animated films, cartoons, they're for kids. And then you see Heavy Metal up on the shelf, and it's like, ooh, I shouldn't be watching this. That was kind of my notion when I was young. And so, yeah. And of course, the material therein is relatively mature. So it's not too far off the mark. But these days, they've got adult theme. I mean, Archer, for God's sakes. It's just watch. It's like, oh, cartoon. Oh, this is not for kids. Let's see. Virgil Grin says, I totally believe you, Satsu. I've met a cat that talked. I believe that the cat's meow sounded like Satsu's name. I can believe it.
Yeah, it was. And I tried to be like, no, but I couldn't distinguish the difference. I'm just like, no, this fucking cat is saying my name.
Del Fruzio Scribelight, have you ever had a cat that has exhibited non-cat behavior like the last two of mine liked being wet? None that I've ever owned did anything so out of the ordinary that it didn't seem like cat behavior. So no. Either of you guys?
My last cat, especially with his neediness, he was very dog-like, actually. He was codependent, basically.
I mean, you had a cat that talked, so.
Yeah, but we ended up getting another cat that we didn't have as long because this cat just ran the fuck away. But when the cat came in or whatever, it was just like a baby. And very soon after it got into the house, it was like ordering our house cat around. So it would just be standing somewhere in a corner, and they would be staring at each other for a second, and then the house cat would walk off and go somewhere. And if somebody was eating, he would steal whatever it is they were eating and bring it back to the other cat. And the other cat just stood there all regal, like good job. And he just sat there and watched the meeting. I'm like, what the fuck is happening here? He just came in and running the show.
Let's see. Galen Horncry? Horncry? I hope I'm not terribly mispronouncing that. Who do you think would win the VP debate, Pence or Harris? As far as like length of political experience and just, I don't know, maturity, Pence for sure. He can speak to subjects and things that Harris just can't, given her relatively short tenure in federal politics. I guess it depends on, but of course that's not so much what causes people to assess a win or not. So, yeah, I think on sturdiness and presentation, probably Pence, but I don't know, Kamala might jazz it up and win the style points, because Pence is, let's be honest, kind of, he's a board of plywood, more or less.
Pretty much.
I think who wins is largely determined by the press the next day. So
yeah, that's true.
You do the math.
Yeah, and I mean, if you ask a Trump supporter, it'll be Pence. If you ask a Biden supporter, or at least I hate Trump, it'll be Kamala Harris. How you assess a win, yeah, it's very subjective. I mean, unless somebody like completely fumbles and stumbles over every word they say, or gets caught in a lie or something else, or someone gets a real good zinger on the other one that can't be denied, and so on. So, Slapper 360 scribbles, how long do you think you'll last in the Dr. Pepper shortage? Oh, I don't know. I mean, I'm already drying out. My fingers are pruning up. Pruning. Dr. Pepper. Yeah. Frosted Glass, do you think there's a connection between Biden choosing Kamala and Quippers United on Jack Gunsky's channel after Lawton? Actually, yes. I think that's actually the reason he picked Kamala. Like, that was the deciding factor. That's what took him so long from August 1st, or the first week of August till now, to make that decision. Sorry, who are you again? Mono Winter, oh lords, should we send Satsu Dr. Pepper for you, Scribe? Yes. Yes, Satsu. I think Satsu needs some exposure therapy to start loving Dr. Pepper.
I'm okay.
See, guys, that's actually a cry for help. Don't listen to him. It's reverse psychology. He's trying to convince himself that he doesn't need the loveliness that is Dr. Pepper.
Scribe, you do know this isn't a TED Talk, right?
Every day is a TED Talk. Let's see. Frosty Glass. My cat said my name. Of course, my name is Don't Put Me in the Microwave. That's funny.
I wasn't ready for that at all.
That's funny. Taco Alpaca, is Tulsi Gabbard in trouble if Kamala ends up as president? As president? Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. I always thought that Tulsi would make a really fun running mate for Biden. I thought she. I mean, if you're going to pick Kamala, a completely failed candidate, you might as well have gone for Tulsi. But Tulsi didn't have the name recognition, even though she completely trounced Kamala. Let's see. I wonder who Tulsi's going to vote for. Now, she'll probably vote for Biden.
Probably.
Yeah, and I think at the end of the day, she's got to go party line.
Tulsi's voting for Russia.
Yeah, I vote for Putin. Harvest Marvels, what are the chances, considering how Biden is now, the Democrats will switch it up to have Harris debate Trump? They can't. Wouldn't work. No, I mean, let's say in some reality they did. That would be an immediate admission that Biden is not up to the job.
Oh, I could definitely see somebody trying to craft an argument for it, or they're like,
sure,
we already know Trump's gonna cheat anyway. So I mean, what harm did this do? Oh well,
Chris Cillizza had a post like that just the other day. It said something to the effect of Trump just handed Biden a debate win, and I'm like, well, hell, let's not even. Why bother even having him then, right?
And it's just because of how they he set the bar too low. So if Biden doesn't drool on himself, he wins.
Basically.
Yeah. Let's see. Dark Lyle, in the first presidential debate, what is the first question you would want Biden to actually answer? How does your handling of H1N1 inform you as to how you would have handled COVID-19?
He gonna be like, well, that wasn't really me. That was Obama.
Well, no, I mean, you're part of the administration. How is the Obama administration's handling of H1N1? How would that, if you had been president, how would that have informed you as to handle COVID-19? I'd be curious to know his answer to that question, because so much of his rhetoric lately has been, the circumstances of the country right now based on COVID-19 are a failure of leadership. And so I'd want to hear from him specifically what actions the Obama administration took during the H1N1 pandemic would have been duplicated, or what lessons you learned that you would have done differently during the COVID pandemic. Because he's really been riding that one, and so I think that's a legitimate question to ask.
I think a good question would be, considering the fact that you are now pushing the notion that Trump is 100% responsible for every single death that has occurred during the COVID. Do you accept responsibility for any death that happened under H1N1? Like all of them are all your fault. Because that's what it is. Because people don't say like Trump's responsible for X amount of deaths or these people who died to this. Like even if somebody goes outside and literally licks the inside of somebody's mouth to get corona, it's like, I want to die from corona. They'll be like, Trump did it. It was his fault. So I'm just like, based on that logic, would you come out and say that you accept responsibility for every death that took place during your administration when it came to that? I'd be curious to hear that answer.
Or at least, do you blame Barack Obama, who was actually president? Yeah.
Exactly.
Do you hold the same standard for Barack Obama under H1N1? Yeah, sure. Go. Sorry, go ahead.
I would take a whole different track. So go ahead and finish your thought first.
Oh, I was just going to say, like I said, he has been writing that point so much on his Twitter account, at least, which is mostly anything I hear from Biden, that I think one of the first questions should be a challenge to his ideas on leadership during a pandemic. So, Go ahead, Monkey.
I would ask why you committed to picking a woman for vice president instead of the best person for the job.
Oof, I think I got a good retort.
What's that?
Why would you assume that a woman isn't the best person for the job?
The answer there is simple. You've cut out 50% of the population just by saying it's a woman. So the chance of a better person being there, it's 50-50. And you just immediately, sorry, even if you're a better candidate than, come on, you could have found a better male candidate than Kamala.
No, see, and Satsu's got exactly right. He would say something like that, and he would say, I think it's ridiculous that in this day and age, the kind of sexism that you are promoting right now still pervades our political discussion. And that's all he'd have to do. Anything you say after that, trying to follow up or anything else, you're already done.
Yeah, and the media will already pick up the narrative that you seem to believe that there is no way that a woman could be a possible pick. Like, there's no way she could be.
No, see, that's the thing. That's why I say the best person for the job, because it could be a woman, but you immediately cut out half. That's the sexism right there, not what I said.
Now,
maybe for example, how can you know for sure that you picked the best person when you've eliminated?
There is a way to craft that question that'll make it far more difficult for Biden to pull the sexism card. I don't know exactly how that would be, but there is a way to ask that same question without giving him that easy of an opening. But no, it's a good question, and because if we're talking about sexism in politics, he's practicing it right there. If you actually mean sexism for what it actually means, and not just saying sexism only is against women or can only be practiced against women. Yeah. Let's see, we're almost out of time, but Cougar Knife said, if I asked Biden about the H1N1 thing, his response would be, "Look here, you spider nose scribe butt! How dare you ask me this?"
Right?
Probably. And it's going to be interesting to see how. Like I say, the times where we've seen Biden lose it is when he's under pressure, and someone is coming at him in a adversarial manner. Now, if the questioners at the debates don't do it themselves, Trump sure as heck will. And I'll be very, very curious to see how Biden stands up to a unfiltered adversarial exchange with someone, especially Trump. But with that, guys, by the time I finish, this will be at the top of the hour and thus the end of the show. Thank you guys so much for joining us tonight. I mean, this has been a really interesting show, talking about the politics of things and our predictions and all. It's always fun. I know this is Monkey's personal crack, and I enjoy indulging with him on it from time to time.
It's so much fun.
I know. It's just the strategy, sort of thinking about the bigger questions and stuff like that. And I especially, I forget who asked it now already. I apologize. Whoever asked, what question would you ask Biden first? I really like that question. I really think
that's a good question, actually.
But again, with that, guys, thank you guys so much for joining us. Thank you so much, moderators, for keeping an eye on things, even though our audience is so well behaved, so well informed, and so thoughtful that you guys really don't need to do a whole lot of heavy lifting. And everyone who donated, thank you so much for your generosity. I really do appreciate it. Remember, tomorrow night, per usual, be on Monkey's channel at the regular time, 6 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Central, 9 p.m. Eastern, Lords of the Night. And later on this morning or tonight, depending on where you are, Monkey will probably be doing a Monkey in the Morning stream talking further about the Harris nomination for VP.
Very, very soon. I'm working on a thumbnail for it right now.
Okay, very, very soon. So keep your eyes on Twitter for the link, or just go over to Monkey's channel and keep refreshing. And also, reminder for all three of us or any other content creator you like, make sure you're still subscribed. I've had several people come to me, like long-time subscribers, come to me recently and just say, I just realized that I got unsubscribed to you for some reason. So regardless of whether it's us or anybody else, just double check your subscriptions for the channels that you know you watch on a regular basis, and just make sure you're still subscribed. Hit the bell. Presumably it does something. I don't know if it does anymore or not, but just check it. And follow us on Twitter. Links are in the description if you need those. Tomorrow I intend to do a TED Excellence around noon Pacific time. If I decide for whatever reason not to, I will notify you guys on Twitter ahead of time, because I know some people look forward to those. And on Thursday, I hope to be doing a tandem with Sinatra Says. If not, if he can't make it for his real life reasons, I'll probably still do one anyway, but hopefully so. Anything else, guys, before we go?
Thanks for watching, guys.
Stay awesome.
Yes, that too. And everyone, oh, sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself, as I often do. Monkey, Satsu, thank you for joining me as always.
Indeed.
Yeah, whatever.
I know. I'm so forgetful. Everyone else, your lives make us sad, and we will see you tomorrow.
Bye, guys.
I'm getting out my copy of Screw the Roses, Send Me the Thorns, the romance and sexual sorcery of sadomasochism.
Sadomasochism.
And I'm not going to open up the book this time. I'm just going to, off of the story read earlier, just make today's secret word safe word.
Apples.
It's very important. Very, very important.